Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Uncle Matt's Cookery Lessons. A classic pudding, sticky toffee pudding. There's the recipe for that, and there's the recipe for the butterscotch sauce that's going to go with it. It's going to look like that when you follow this recipe, and you're going to love this one. Hello, it's been a while since I've made a pudding or a dessert, so I'm going to make one of the very best today. Classic British pudding. The sun is shining, but you know, the summer seems like it's over, so it's a good time to do this one. Sticky toffee pudding. Dates, these things, star of the show, and it's basically a simple sponge. I'm also going to make a rather naughty, delicious butterscotch sauce to go with it. So you're in for a treat today. Alright then, let's make this delicious pudding. Those are dates. I bought the ones without stones because I am clever. If you are not, you will buy the ones that have got stones in them, and you're going to have to get the stones out and then weigh them, aren't you? So anyway, get your pitted dates into the pan with the bicarb of soda and the water. Put that on a low to medium heat. There we are, turning that one down. Pop a lid on it and just let that simmer away for 10-15 minutes or so. Meanwhile, let's make the sponge base. So we're combining the sugar and the butter in my brand new KitchenAid. I'm so happy with that thing. Look at it, isn't it lovely? I'm going to be able to make more breads and pasta and all sorts of stuff with that. Anyway, so it's a bit stuck on the sides. It's all sort of catching at the bottom. So I thought I'll get my spatula under there and we'll loosen that up. And then we'll keep going because we want to get that nice and sort of creamed, I believe will be the term for it. It sort of gets a bit pale and a bit fluffy. There we go. Time to add in the eggs. Obviously, the full recipe is in the description, folks. As always check in the description. And you're going to sort of mix that. And don't worry if it doesn't look very nice. Sort of actually, this came together, but quite often it will look all split. But it matters not because you're going to add flour. And in this case, I'm using self-raising flour or self-rising flour. So that's like an all-purpose flour, plain flour that already has the baking powder in it. Put it on a very low speed while you get that started, otherwise you're going to be covered in dust and it's going to look like a drug dealer's den or something like that in your kitchen. And then what we do there, we have a little taste. We say, that looks nice. Does it taste nice? Yes, it does. So that's good. So this is 10 or 15 minutes later, and you've got nice sort of soft, pretty horrible looking dates. You know, let's not pretend that looks nice, shall we? And I got rid of my old Kenwood, which had a perfectly good food processor on it. I gave it to my mum. Right, Mum? And I don't have that attachment with my new KitchenAid, so I've had to use my liquidizer. But I would recommend a food processor because it's going to be much easier to get this stuff out. But basically, get your hot water and dates in there and mix that until it's nice and smooth. And then what you do, you want to cool it down really, because you don't want to be chucking that piping hot mixture straight into your cold room temperature sponge recipe. That's not going to be good. It's going to end badly. Tears maybe. Anyway, so I'm going to put that in a bowl and I'm going to let that cool down. In fact, I put it in the sink with some cold water around it to encourage the cooling. Once it's down to sort of room temperature, I got it into my batter and making a bit of a mess, but there you go. And then basically just bring that together. Don't have to overwork this at this stage, just until you've got a nice homogeneous batter mixture like so. So anyway, history of sticky toffee pudding. I used to assume it was an American thing because I thought it wasn't a very old dish, but it actually really dates back to the 1970s to the northwest of England, a place that I love called the Lake District. And two gentlemen, a combined effort between Francis Colston and Robert Lee. They created this dish to sort of help warm up the walkers, you know, from fell walking in a beautiful Lake District mountains. Anyway, you saw me line my baking mould there. I put the size of it on the screen if that helps you, but it doesn't really matter. If yours is a bit deeper, it's a bit, you know, narrower, whatever. You're going to have a different shape sticky toffee pudding. And I do apologise for that really unnecessary view of my backside. And so whilst that's baking, let's get the butterscotch sauce on. And this is one of the easiest toffees you'll make. You don't have to make caramel first. You just combine all the ingredients cold in a pan, put it over a low to medium heat again, and just let that make itself. And I tried not to stir it at all because I wanted to do a super fast motion and it would look cool, but I have to stir it in a bit. Anyway, so these chaps, they got this recipe. Well, the rumour has it that during the Second World War, a couple of Canadian Air Forcemen had this sort of a variation of this recipe, and they gave it there, and it was kept a secret, and then it was adapted by these chaps in the 1970s. So who knows really where this comes from? I suspect it may have its dates way back to the sort of medieval times. English puddings such as Spotted Dick and Jam Roly Poly and the awesome bread and butter pudding. If you haven't seen my bread and butter pudding recipe, go check that one out. And so there you saw that beautiful molten hot bubbling butterscotch sauce. And unfortunately, another view. I'll have a little word with the producer about these camera angles. And so, you know, how do you know if it's ready? Well, you stick in a skewer, and you then show a completely blurry, out of focus skewer to a camera. So it made no use to that, but it was clean. So the skewer was clean, and I thought, well, that's it then. That'll do. That's done. Now that you could serve immediately. You know, you don't have to do this, but you could just, you know, put that on a table, serve it up with a spoon, and people pour over the sauce. But I wanted to get a little bit restauranty, so I let it cool down a bit, sort of to room temperature. And you could cut this into squares. You'd have less wastage, of course. But you know, I was feeling all a bit fancy and poncy, so cut it out with a ring. I popped that in the microwave to get hot, put it onto a nice plate, and spoon over lashings and lashings of umptuous, delicious, bubbly hot butterscotch sauce. Food porn, and then a scoop of vanilla ice cream on top of that is completely optional. And then try to see if you can get it to stay there while you take photographs. Yeah, there's a challenge, but oh, look at it melting. Anyway, that, ladies and gentlemen, is sticky toffee pudding. I'm going to dive in there with a fork, have a little taste of that, and then I'm going to hand you over to me for the official tasting. Okay, sticky toffee pudding. I haven't had this for a while. Toffee sauce, vanilla ice cream. Love that hot and that cold. Oh yeah. Oh my god. That is naughty. So that is my sticky toffee pudding. I'm gonna give it a go. Let me know in the comments how you get on. I'll see you in the next video coming real soon. Bye.